everyone, it's David here. So today I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions that you all have. And I'm kind of talking a little louder here because I know my sound quality has been affected a little bit in the camera. So I'm trying to talk where you all can hear me a little bit better on this. But before I answer these questions, and there's some really good ones on here, Elizabeth, you're going to be the first one I'm going to answer. These aren't some of my last videos that I had, but again, before I get into these, do me a favor. If you've not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead and click subscribe below and click the notification link. I do give out prizes. I do live events, live phone calls, and I'd love for you to be one of my lucky winners or be able to know if I'm doing live events or not. So go and subscribe if you haven't, and let's get to some of the questions. First one says, I feel like you've answered these on one of your videos, but an LLC is not necessary. Is that correct? Absolutely. So when I first did this business, I started off in the mortgage business, and my first strong lead was a $150,000 lead. Actually, I came across a small deal in Paramount, California before that one, and it was a mortgage overage. And I would call people and just say, hey, I do this independently. I work for myself, and I do this in my name. I will say that now that I've come up with my corporation name and I'm talking to people and I say JD Vista, we'll get 10%. Here's what we'll do for you. It sounds a lot more. I like the fact that I do have the corporation, and I like to see use words hide behind it. There's a difference between just saying your name and saying an LLC or a corporation. In my case, it's a corporation. So what I do is I say, this is David from JD Vista. Upon your approval, we'll move forward, and here's what JD Vista will do for you. They'll get 10%. Here are the contracts and everything. And people tend to trust that corporation a little bit more. But especially starting out, like when 2010, I was in financial destruction. I would not have been able to afford like a few extra $100 for an LLC. And it might seem minute, but especially when you're first starting. Now, what I would do, and I know I'm giving you the long answer to this here, Elizabeth, is I would go ahead and use the capital that I'm bringing in for my business and put it back into my business. Meaning, like, let's say you bring in $1,500, use that for an LLC. Make sure you talk to a professional, because there are so many different LLCs. Do you have asset protection? Some offer it, some don't. Do you have tax protection? Some offer it and some don't. And I'm not a tax professional. I would talk to an expert in those fields and make sure that you understand and that you get that. All right, Nicholas. Hey, David, can I have the script that you use? Yes, Nicholas, you may. I do have it on quite a few videos. If you go through and just do my search on my history, you should be able to find one of my old videos and just to be able to use that one right there. Spencer puts very informative. Thank you, Spencer. Okay, Jacan, the hotel business is harder than what most people think. I totally agree with you. What Jacan's referring to is, in my last video, I talked about a business that I got back. I had helped somebody. My former attorney and I had gone into this hotel deal, and I actually ended up having the keys handed back to me unexpectedly on this hotel deal. And it was losing $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And that's quite a significant amount to be lost. And what he's talking about is, I actually, and this is what I talk about with surplus funds. I actually met with a couple people that are in the hotel business that know it. And I actually sat down with them and just said, hey, this hotel's not making it. What can I do? Do you want the keys back, or what can I do to make this better? And I took that advice. And so right now I'm doing this video in September of 2021. In 2020 and even 2019 before COVID, the hotel did in September like 40 to 41,000. This last year we did we did 57,500 this last September of 2021. And we're still in COVID. A lot of things are still shut down. And then this month it looks like we're on schedule to do about 63,000. I think last September and the one before, it averaged again between 40 to 43,000. And I've taken what's been taught to me and I've applied it. So I totally agree with that, Jacan. Thank you for that. And that's what I try to do with surplus funds a lot, is teach you all what's going on behind the scenes here, or what works for me and what works with other people in the business that are doing the business, so that you can learn from these videos. I do, in last video, I did talk a little bit about mentorship, because there is a difference between experimenting with the business and then actually doing it. Now, with that being said, you should have enough on these videos where you could get started if you go back and you watch from my earliest videos. And I know some of them are like, kind of like, you know, it's my first videos that I've ever done, but they are pretty informative, and I try to make them pretty good. What's the picture about? And that comes from New Age Note. I think what you're referring to is my thumbnail, and my camera guy does a really good job of that. I really like my YouTube camera guy, so thanks. A shout out to Cameron for that. He does a great job with that. Lee, great video, David. Thank you for that. Lee, and he's referring to that. All right, let's go into my next one, because I've got a few more questions I'm going to answer here. Okay, so this one says, anything special about how to open California file? Great content, thanks. So Mary, and I've gotten a little bit better at some of the computer stuff. What I can do in like half an hour, Spencer can do in like 10 or 15 minutes. And when the California file, I was downloading it on a Mac, and Numbers is a lot different than Excel. And I just told Spencer, I said, I thought it got cut off at 3,000. I thought the highest paid lead in California was 3,000 at the time. And I had someone who followed my advice that made $5,000 on a deal. Mike was the guy's name. He's up in Sacramento. He went and he door knocked. He's like, hey, this person lives like 2 or 3 doors down from me. He went over, he knocked and said, hey, I'm your neighbor. By the way, I don't know if you know, you've got this money here. I'm a claims specialist. I can help you. And got the deal. And I'm like, and he was telling me about this and realized that Numbers is a lot harder to download. So you might want to just consult with someone or jump online or go with Fiverr, but it's not that hard. You just go to California Unclaimed Property and you can download a list from right there and they have it. And a lot of states have it. Like what I always tell people, and trust me, this is like, there's golden nuggets. You know, I like to think all the questions I answer is golden nuggets, but this is a real golden nugget that I'm going to give you. If you live like in the state of, let's say, Nevada and you're working Nevada, or you're working Oregon, you live in Oregon, I don't know a lot about Oregon, or you live in Alaska and you want to work, I would first of all see if you could work your home state. Now there's some states like Florida, you have to work under a private investigator and you have to share their license. That's going to be impossible. Obviously don't do Florida. So I would call the state and find out how friendly they are toward property locators, find out if they have any contracts, find out if there's a way you could get the contract. They may tell you to consult with an attorney. But let's say you work in your home state. So let's say you live in one of the states I mentioned, let's say Alaska, and you get registered in Alaska and you start working in Alaska. What I would challenge you to do is to find 10 people that you know in Alaska that have unclaimed property and get them paid. Even if you make $5, $10, $15, because what you're doing now is you're taking your business, you're taking it at the entry level, and you're now moving to you're now moving into a position where you're getting people paid. It's like you're training yourself. And I always say that if you go work for a company, you're a sales guy, you're a sales guy or gal at Ford, and you move cars, or you work for a stock exchange company, or you do something and you're moving a lot of product back and forth. Okay, well, you do this with the state level. You come across like 10 different leads, 10 different people that need to get paid, and you make a couple mistakes. You learn how to pay them. These are friends or people that you know. And if you don't have any, like you absolutely like let's say you live in New York, which I would not work in New York because my understanding is they give you under or over $100. Well, if you can only collect a certain percentage, and how do you know you're not getting someone to collect on $5, you know? So, or even $101, you know? So I wouldn't work in New York, but let's say you live in New York and you're working California or Alaska, and you don't know 10 people in that state that you're working. Then what I would do is I would go ahead, go to my LinkedIn connections and search for people that are connected to me that are in California or Alaska or whatever state I'm working. And I would call them, 10 people. I would skip trace them and call them and just say, hey, hi, this is David from JD Vista. I'm on your LinkedIn connection and I'm notifying you to let you know. Now, can you instant message them? Probably a question that you're asking is I'm saying this. Absolutely. The problem with LinkedIn is people are either really hot or cold on LinkedIn. They might check their LinkedIn accounts every couple months. I know people that are on LinkedIn every day. I love LinkedIn. I've got over 30,000 connections. I've done a lot of flips, a lot of different business on LinkedIn. I absolutely am an avid fan of it. I don't go on there enough now. That's what I would do. Go on there and find our Facebook or other people and just say, hey, you know what? We have a common friend on Facebook, and I noticed that you live in Texas. I'm a property claims specialist and you have unclaimed funds. So you say that, you start off that conversation. You're now training yourself to have this conversation. You're a little more at ease because it's with somebody that you know. You're then going to help get them paid. You're learning the paperwork. You can communicate with them in the process. And it might take you a few months to go ahead and do this, but I would rather do this in a few months than to not learn this at all and not do it, or just not know how to talk to people. Because what you're doing is you're training your mind how to talk to people. You're learning the process. I mean, there's so many golden nuggets in that last statement. And with that being said, I'm going to go and end this video right here with those questions. I'll be doing some more questions on a later video. I want to thank you for watching. Do me a favor, if you've not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe, click the notification link. I would love for you to be one of my lucky winners. Also, I'd like you to get notified when I do live events and everything, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.